Welcome to Transforming Human Consciousness. I am Keyvan Geula. This is a program which is sponsored by the Spiritual Assembly of the Baha'is of Claremont and is dedicated to the understanding and the celebration of the oneness of humanity, the pivotal teachings of the Bahá'í Faith. The topic of our conversation today is psychoneuroimmunology. Baha'u'llah, in his teachings, the founder of the faith, says, spirit has a great effect to the bodily conditions. And Abdul Baha, the son of the founder of the Baha'i Faith, says between material things and spiritual things, there is a connection. The guest that I have here today to discuss and explore some of the connections between body, mind, and spirit is Stan Salib. And I'd like to welcome you.
Thank you very much. It's so nice to be here.
So good to have you here. Stan is a board-certified medical psychotherapist and also the director of Mind, Body, Spirit Institute.
Right.
And also he's a teaching fellow at the Institute of International Association of Cancer Counselors. So you work, I understand, with cancer patients a lot.
My personal experience is primarily with people with cancer.
Right.
I don't mean to convey the opinion that our understanding of the effect of the mind and the brain on the immune system is devoted exclusively to cancer. Of course,
Right.
it is not. It's but my work personally is mainly with cancer. My research is with cancer.
Which really, truly is on the mind of many, many people because this is a disease that affects a lot of people. But let me begin with the question probably that after I mention the name psychoneuroimmunology, probably everybody asks, what is that? So let's have a explanation of that.
What it really is a tongue twister. It doesn't mean anything.
Okay.
No, that's not true. It refers to the effect of the mind and the brain on the body's immune system. And when you say mind and brain, you're really talking about the nervous system, which is part of, the brain is part of the nervous system, and the mind, which is a function of that. And to extend that out, you must include personality and belief systems and all of that, and how that affects the immune system, which is the wonderful part of us that keeps us healthy.
Okay, now I understand that this whole concept of psychoneuroimmunology is not very old. It's fairly new.
Yes. The term itself, psychoneuroimmunology, was first coined in the late 1970s, and perhaps gained acceptance in the early 80s. What's quite interesting is that for many years, psychologists and physicians knew about the effect of the mind and the body in what they call psychosomatic illness. Psycho meaning mind, soma meaning body.
Right.
And it was very clear that personality, that tension, that anxiety, that stress created ailments in the physical body.
Right.
And that's about all we knew at that time. And then, again, in mid-70s, some of us came along and said, well, if we really understood what that mechanism was, what the anatomy and physiology of the immune system really is, maybe we can turn that around and use it to harness it to affect healing. And out of that has come a relatively new science called psychoneuroimmunology, or much more easily said, PNI.
Right. One of the reasons that I know the Baha'is in particular are very interested in this area of research investigation of science. First of all, is the whole concept of harmony of religion and science anyways, as a principle that we have. But the Baha'i Writings makes a lot of references to the impact of the mind, body, spirit, and its interdependence and interconnection.
Yes, as a matter of fact, I was really delighted in reading some of the principles of the Baha'i, and if I may,
Sure.
There's a couple of quotes which I liked very much. The first saying, "Verily, the most necessary thing is contentment under all circumstances. By this one is preserved from morbid conditions and from lassitude. Yield not to grief and sorrow. They cause the greatest misery, jealousy, and consume the body, as doth anger burn the liver," etc. This is, at one point, was considered metaphysics and not very well respected. I think now we're much more enlightened, and we know that joy and happiness promotes healing, and that stress in any one of its forms promotes illness. It's not that stress causes illness,
Right.
but I think most physicians understand that every condition, every kind of illness is exacerbated by stress.
So if, in other words, you're saying that we could be predisposed to certain diseases, and under stress, then the body does not function in its best, and then therefore disease manifests itself. Is that what you're trying to say?
That's a very good way to look at it, yes. If I may talk about cancer, because that's the chronic illness of which I'm most familiar, everybody has malignant cells running around in our bodies all the time. But it's a thing of no great moment, because we have this immune system that is made up of very highly specialized cells, some of which are called killer cells, because their function in the body is to seek out and destroy anything and kill anything that presents a threat to the well-being of the organism.
Stan, let's, I hate to interrupt you, but let's go ahead and take a break. And then I'd like to come back, because I know this is an area of your expertise. And I love to hear the explanations, and then for you to elaborate, how does this work? Because
Sure.
Majority of the people who are inflicted with this horrible disease, they will be very interested to hear your insights. So I'd like to go ahead and ask our viewers to just continue watching. We're going to share with you a video, and then we will come back and go ahead and have our discussion with Stan on this whole mind, body, spirit connection and how to deal with cancer. So please stay tuned.
I'm Dwight Allen from Norfolk, Virginia, and to me, one of the most exciting things about being a Baha'i is the opportunity to know the world and to understand firsthand the family of humanity. This has been my experience. And you know, the Baha'i Faith gives us very practical tools with which to deal with the problems of the world. I'm an educator, and as an educator, I know that it's wonderful to see the way that the Baha'i Faith helps me learn how to use the idea of encouragement as the foundation of classroom teaching, because you know, risk-taking and mistakes are all a part of the learning process, and too often times in education, why criticism dominates the classroom rather than encouragement, and we learn better with happy brains, and the Baha'i Faith certainly wants us to do that. Another important principle that the Baha'i Faith encourages is the idea of trust and loyalty, because with trust and loyalty and unity, everything is possible. And without unity, nothing is possible. And as we become the family of the world and understand that rather than competing with each other, and having one number one and everybody else being number two, the objective is to have all the nations of the world share this preeminent status, to be among the leading nations of the world. This is our objective. And I think that this takes away the the fierce competitiveness that creates winners and losers, and instead creates an opportunity for a win-win situation where we will create a world where all men are brothers and all humanity can live in peace and prosperity.
My name is Ken Allen, and I'm attending the conference here in Orlando, Florida, from Turlock, California, where I live. And this is my wife, Mary, Dr. Mary Allen, and she's an educational psychologist, and my line of work is engineering and business. And so I do consulting work in business and engineering field. We've particularly enjoyed being here at the conference the last few days because the Baha'i social and economic projects that we're learning about and discussing relate to our Baha'i ideals about how to help people, how to improve the standard of living of poor people around the world, and in a way that develops their self-esteem and to offer hope that things will get better and improve their ability to get jobs and to perform work which will be meaningful. And Baha'is believe that work is, when done in the proper spirit, is really worship. And so we think we can show our love and appreciation for God by or through our work ethic. And Mary, would you like to say something about some of the things you've attended?
Well, I'm just very interested to see that there are so many people in so many different fields, all interested in helping mankind to better their lives. And it's been a wonderful experience.
Engineering and business and all seem to have a part to play in how we can better the living standards of all mankind. Working together in unity, as Baha'is believe, can be a very important way of improving the world.
Hello, my name is Ted Jefferson. I do many things in my life. I'm a radio talk show host. I teach young men who are at risk. I'm also the chairman of the Second Harvest Food Bank. But the most important thing in my life is my faith in Baha'u'llah. I'm a member of the Baha'i community. That's an international community. If you would like to maybe get a new start in your life, to get a better understanding about the troubles of the world, investigate the Baha'i Faith. There's a Baha'i community somewhere near you. Look in the phone book and find the Baha'i Faith. We have the answers to all of society's problems. This is Ted Jefferson saying, be a Baha'i.
You guys know it, say it with me. Listen, can you hear the sound of hearts beating all the world around? High up the mountain, down by the sea, everywhere around the world, it sounds the same to me. Black or white, red or tan, it's the heart of the family of man. Oh, lead the way. Oh, lead the way. Oh, lead the way. Listen, can you hear the sound of laughter? All the world around, down in the valley, out of the plain, everywhere around the world, laughter always sounds the same. Black or white,
Welcome back to Transforming Human Consciousness. We're going to continue our conversation with Stan Salib, director of the Mind, Body, Spirit Institute. Actually, Stan, you're in Newton, Massachusetts, right?
That's right.
Yeah. And there is a reason you're here in
Yes,
this
I'm
part
here
of the
in Southern
country.
California to teach a seminar in the clinical applications of psychoneuroimmunology for mental health professionals,
Yeah,
psychiatrists, psychologists, social workers.
right.
And that's why I'm in California.
Yeah, and so generally when we're looking for you, we should look towards Boston, Massachusetts, Newton area, right?
Yes, Newton is a suburb of Boston. It's
Yeah,
a
yeah.
residential suburb of
Right,
Boston.
right. I like to go ahead and finish our conversation. You were talking about the whole this field and how it deals with the whole disease of cancer, and what are some of the things that gives us some hope in this area?
Well, once again, using cancer as an illustration, but not limited to
Cancer.
any chronic or critical illness.
Right.
There's a wonderful phenomenon that I've experienced over the years, not only I, but all of my colleagues who do this work, in that every one of our cancer clients who goes into remission, we refer to the people we work with as clients, by the way, not patients.
Right.
Patients are sick.
Okay.
But everyone who goes into remission, without exception, says at some point, I'm glad I got cancer. And when I say that to people, they think I'm like very weird, because what a terrible thing that is to say. But actually what people are saying is that if it took getting in touch with my own mortality, if it took the threat of dying because of cancer to make me appreciate what living is all about, to make me appreciate joy and love and happiness, then I'm glad I got cancer.
In other words, if it takes a test for us to realize that we are the soul, not the body, we are the spirit, not just the body, to realize our own spiritual self, then that, so be it.
Well, that's my belief.
Yeah.
I believe that all pain, all illness, is the soul's way that the illness is the soul's way of manifesting a lesson. That all pain, all illness is in reality a teaching. And if we can listen to the teaching, then the illness is a thing of no moment. We don't need it anymore.
Sounds very similar to this passage that this is from Baha'u'llah, the founder of the Bahá'í Faith, says, often physical sickness draws man nearer unto his maker. And it says, it suffers his heart to be made empty of all worldly desires until it becomes tender. In other words, there is a more important part to us that comes into forefront once we are faced with a test. So there's an opportunity. Sickness provides an opportunity to grow.
Yes, for me, that's the key word, opportunity.
Yeah.
And in the field of psychoneuroimmunology, which really refers, as I said before, to the function of the mind and the brain and the immune system. But it also recognizes the fact that stress, anger, any kind of stress gets its energy from the immune system. And the immune system is what keeps us healthy.
I see.
And it's very reliable. It has protected all of us since birth. And if we compromise the immune system, because the immune system is connected to every other function of the body uniquely, if we compromise it in some way, our ability to fight viruses or fight bacteria or fight malignancy, even in the realm of mental and emotional health, although that's a little different, If we compromise that immune system, then we don't have the stamina to stay well and get well.
What was very interesting for me to find out is, what does your field, how does your field reflect on the whole concept of religion, belief as a whole, and what does it do for the body?
My answer, I think, is somewhat controversial. I have to preface by saying
That's okay.
because I don't think. I think that very often religion per se, especially Western religions, kind of interfere with one's connectedness to the higher power, to their own spirit. So I prefer to talk about it as spirituality rather than religion.
So you distinguish between them?
Yes, I do.
So how does spirituality affect one's overall health, which means really makes it possible for man to live as long as possible so he can fulfill his mission, which, as Baha'is believe, is to serve humanity, to be able to serve a cause of good. That's the goal of one's life.
If one acknowledges that there is a part of us that is a spiritual part, as differentiated from our physical bodies, sometimes one tends to think that one is higher than the other, one is more important than the other. And I think, depending upon the circumstances, that's probably true. We have an obligation to keep ourselves spiritually healthy, which is very difficult to do if we're under stress, if we're angry, if we're vindictive.
If you're addicted.
Then vindictive, if we have hate.
Right.
But we're also obligated to keep our physical body healthy. I believe that the gift of life that we are given is accompanied by that life is sort of a schoolroom, and school is never out.
It's a continuous workshop.
Continuous. The lessons get different. They might get higher in the realm of spirituality as we grow older, hopefully. But we have an obligation to take care of our bodies. We can't neglect them.
What you said reminded me of a very interesting passage that I love very much. It says, everything in life, this is from Abdul Baha, says, everything in life ministers to our development. Our lesson is to study and to learn. Tests are stumbling blocks or stepstones as we make them. So it is really the whole, it's so much left to our will and so to our choice.
Yes.
So the concept of our awareness and our choice going together.
Well, I also believe that. And it's why we don't talk about curing. Even in cancer, we talk about healing.
Why don't we come back, because I know we have another show. I'm going to do another show with you, and then explore those subjects which you haven't had a chance, because there's so much to cover. So I'm going to thank you here for this show, and I'd like to thank our viewers for being with us. And please feel free to contact us through Baha'i Faith, P.O. Box 686, Claremont, California, 91711. And our phone number is 909-626-2569. If you have any questions or any comments, and if you want to get in touch with our guests for any particular reasons. So I would like to say thank you and goodbye for transforming human consciousness at this point, and I shall see you in the upcoming shows.